But yeah, Intercom is a really wide product. There's a ton of things you can do with it. So initially we tried to hone in on like the persona route. We tried to hone in on a handful of personas, specifically around the sales side. But we found that with any one persona, there was just so many variances. Because again, you can just do so much with us that like even for support or marketing, there's just so many things that you can do. So then we reverted back to kind of the use case way of thinking about it again. So there's a couple of small things that we did. We rolled out our narrative and our pitch deck this year for the first time. Excuse me. So we rolled that out in February. And that was the first time that everyone had a unified way of talking about what Intercom was, how it worked, and the value that it delivered. So that's been a real, initially it was a real good conversation starter because different people had different interpretations. And once we kind of trashed that out amongst ourselves, we came to this unified way of talking about it. And we've seen like everyone now uses that. We listen to it back on calls. So now for once we're talking about it in the same way. And just today, actually, we're working on our V2 of that. So we're working the next iteration of that. And we're already seeing like a lot of engagement across our marketing partners and everyone. So building the narrative, building a unified talk track is brilliant. That's the one thing that we did. The second thing, we focus heavily on it in onboarding. So when you're a new hire and you're coming through, we obviously use WorkRamp pretty heavily for our onboarding. You're going to start learning about our use cases, and that's going to be the basis for everything that you're doing. And we do a lot of challenges in your first few weeks to make sure that you understand the basics of them, because again, everything kind of rolls down from that after the fact. So you'll do some challenges in your first and second and third week to make sure you can understand that and speak to them. And then finally, the next thing that we do is we try to bring everything that we do back to the use cases as much as possible. So initially we just roll out a new feature and be like, yo, we have this new thing and it can do Y. Like, did you know that like you can now customize your messenger to look like this? So, and we kind of did a hit and run situation with those. We've just, here's a new thing, here's a new thing, here's a new thing. But now what we do is we just talk about the overall use case and how the use case has improved, and then the feature is going to be secondary to that. So for example, when we rolled out like our Articles Pro product this year, we didn't really talk about Articles Pro internally. We talked about our support solution and now how people can do more self-serve activities, and you know how we reduce costs, the cost of staffing support organizations then. So like I said, we kind of lead with the use case now, and everything else rolls in underneath that, rather than doing it the other way around, talking about the item first and then the use case. Again, like I said, Intercom is super wide. It's an ongoing challenge. The more we launch and the more people we sell to, it's growing and iterating. So we're by no means have the secret sauce cracked yet, but definitely finding our common narrative, focusing on onboarding and relating everything back to it has helped an awful lot.